Hello, I'm Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest YouTube video. Today I'm going to be sharing video number 4 in our 10-minute journal pages series, and this is where we aim to complete the creative elements in about 10 minutes-ish. I'm going to be working in my dotted flex book, and the main thing that you're going to need today is some patterned paper. This is a sheet from a pack of Van Gogh papers, and the colours tie in perfectly for me. I'm going for some kind of autumnal colours. This feels like late summer going into autumn. And the first thing I'm going to do is just trim this down to the size of my page, though I'll actually probably do it just a little bit less so that it sits nicely on this side. And this is one of my favourite ways for quickly setting up some journal pages, and is something that I do quite often. So I'm probably going to make mine about 4.5 inches wide. And I'll come back to you in just a moment when I've got this down to the right size. So I'm happy that's now the size that I'd like it for my journal. And the next thing we're going to do is cut out a circle from the centre. So I'm turning my paper back over and I'm going to draw a line from corner to corner just so that I can quickly work out where the centre is. So I now want to draw a circle. I'm going to use a compass, but you could definitely draw around something like a roll of PET or washi tape, the bottom of one of your bottles, anything like that will work really well. Obviously with a compass you've got a little bit more choice on the size of the circle you want. So that's the size that I'm going for with mine. And now when it comes to cutting the circle, we want to leave the rest of the paper intact. And I've managed to do that many times with scissors by just kind of piercing a hole in the edge. But today I'm going to use a craft tool to cut this out. So I've got my craft knife here. It doesn't need to be terribly precise. If you've got some slightly wobbly edges, I really wouldn't worry about that. And the writing prompt I'm going to invite you to consider today is how you feel about the changing of the seasons. And we're just heading into autumn here. I can definitely already feel the change in the weather. The light is disappearing earlier. We've had quite a lot of heavy rain and the winds are starting to pick up. So at the weekend just gone, it was pretty wet for the whole weekend, and it gave me some lovely kind of guilt-free time to spend at my craft desk, working on a few different creative projects. I picked up my stitching again and my sketchbooks, and I also absolutely love going out for walks in autumn when the colours of the leaves are changing. I'm already starting to get quite a lot of different things falling on the ground, like our conkers, acorns. So I just find there's so much to explore and enjoy at this time of the year. Okay, so I've now got my circle cut out. I'm going to bring my journal back over, and what we're going to do is glue the main part on this side, and then we're going to glue the other part on the other side. So I'm just looking at kind of its placement from there. So it was there-ish. I'm not worried about it being too precise. I'm going to use Pritt Stick to glue mine down, but I'm going to kind of not add glue around this edge here because I want to be able to tuck a decorative element in there. And honestly, that's the only bit that gets a little bit tricky because I'm going to be using something that has self-adhesive on the back. So just trying to tuck it under a little bit. If you'd rather not, you could always just put your decorative element down first and then position this over the top, or just put your decorative element entirely on top. But I'm going to kind of give it a go. So I'm just going to pop this down here. But I always think this is particularly nice to do at the changing of seasons because you can just kind of represent those colours so nicely with the different papers or scrapbooking paper that you use. I'm going to pop that one here. So I'm just roughly lining that up. I have this roll of beautiful pet tape from London Gifties, and I've had my eye on this girl for so long now, just waiting for the season to arrive. And there's so many beautiful ones on here. She's absolutely wonderful, as is she. But I think, in fact, I've just seen she's holding flowers. But now I'm going to go for this image. And these ones are kiss cut images, so you can just take them straight off the tape. And as I said, for me, this is the only bit that's fiddly because I just want to tuck part of it underneath where the paper is without getting it kind of stuck down before I want it. So I'm just lifting that edge up. And I'm going to pop her down. So I've not been entirely successful there because I've still got a little gap. The corners have gone underneath, but I'm still loving how she's looking. In fact, what I might do, just going to grab a little bit of brown washi tape here. And I'm just going to pop that along the bottom just to disguise that little white patch a little bit. And then what I want to do on this side is add a quote. I picked up a few different ones that I might like to use. I quite like it when they go over the side of the circle. So these ones are from my Patreon printables. This I cut from a magazine, which I also like. I think finding a little time for fun every day would be nice for this. And what I'm thinking is maybe to tie in that brown tape that I wasn't particularly planning on adding. I might just pop a little strip up here. And then I can use that as the top of the frame for here. I always like to try and tie in elements. So if you have to put down something unexpected, adding a little of it to your other page can make it look entirely intentional. I often get asked about mistakes in my journals. I make lots of them. I've just learned more and more ways to kind of disguise them. Or I just live with them. I try not to get too precious about my journals, but I've misspelt quotes in my lettering, all sorts. And then perhaps I'll add lettering to something else and glue it on top, and nobody else will ever know. So what I'm going to do, as always, is just add my journal writing on this page and share a photograph at the end. So I'll just be writing at the top and the bottom, reflecting on my thoughts and maybe my hopes for the season that is now approaching. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I've loved your kind feedbacks on my other videos in this series, so thank you very much. And I hope you just enjoy the quick simplicity that you can bring to your pages, but they're still really effective. Well, as always, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's joined me over on Patreon. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing really well, and I look forward to speaking with you really soon in my next video.
Gather wood, light the fire, hypnotized by blue and amber flame. Pour the wine, raise a glass, toast to memory.